Hi, welcome to 49 Going on Dead. My name's Atratus, and I am a 49-year-old aging goth on an absurd mission to deal with my depression through exercise, as advised by my therapist. She gave me a book. She gave me a book on the neuroscience of depression, which I found really quite interesting, and it had a lot of interesting advice, not the least of which was to get more sunshine, which I don't necessarily agree with, and to get more exercise, which is something I can agree with. The whole idea of going out in the sunshine is antithetical to my very being. I run a website called Gothic DC, and this is a big part of my life. I wear black. I don't go out in the sun. So, in the first installment of this absurdist journey, what we're going to do is we're going to pull my bike out of storage that I haven't used since riding it to Stanley Park to go to the one of the gothniks. And we're going to try and take that for a ride in an area where I've never ridden before, and where there's traffic and other horrible things. And I shall be trying to replicate as much as possible what ridiculous things were going through my inner monologue as I was taping this. Okay, so here's what we start with. Pretty much my idea of the worst possible day. It is ridiculously sunny, very hot, humid, and I have procrastinated until the worst part of the afternoon. I am going to get on this bicycle, my 50-odd-year-old interesting thing, which, you know, unless it was a penny farthing, was the only thing that could make it better. There's my brain bucket, which I have not so much to keep my brains from being smattered on the ground, but to prevent the fine, which I can't afford. And what I've done here is I've affixed my camera to the basket of the bicycle so I can record this absurd adventure. I do not like going out in the sunshine. I do not particularly like getting exercise for any reason other than necessity, which there has been very little of. You know, I used to do competitive sports. I used to row. I used to swim. I used to do all these things, and we'll get this sorted out here in a second, and we'll be off on this absurd adventure. I have not ridden my bike in this. I moved to this part of town about a year ago, and I haven't actually ridden my bike here at all. I haven't actually gotten it out of the closet here at all. So here we go. My bike meets world for the first time in this part of Vancouver, in this shitty apartment that I moved into, which I really don't like much. Which is, you know, part of what the whole program of depression. And here we go. Okay, down the stairs and look at that shithole apartment with the scratches on the wall and the dents and the holes and the little notice on the door saying they're going to be redoing the roof. And a bunch of scratches there. And this is why they're redoing the roof, because the building leaks. And it has been leaking the whole time I've been here. And unfortunately that camera battery died. It was not properly charged or couldn't hold a charge. I'm not sure which. I ordered another battery and we're going to try this again later. But so what I've done now is I've grabbed a vastly inferior camera. There it is. And there's the closest thing I have to athletic wear, which is a pair of old black jeans, which are, you know, probably not too bad for riding a bike because they're old and I've actually had to patch the crotch, so it's sort of reinforced. Here's the 50-year-old bike again, which, you know, one of these days, you know, perhaps if I get used to this and, you know, sort of start enjoying it or something unlikely like that, maybe I'll get a penny farthing and really rock this whole situation. So anyway, down the stairs again for the second time, and just putting the basket on the bicycle here, getting ready to go, and I forgot my keys. Okay, one sec, and we dart back into the apartment while the bike leans in the hallway, and I grab my keys, and we're back out again in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I totally miscounted that. Anyway, what the hell is that gob on the wall? I mean, this place is disgusting. The floor is crooked and creaky, and the walls are filthy. You know, at least the inside of the apartment isn't as bad as the hallway. The neighborhood sucks almost as bad as the apartment. But, you know, this is the only place left in Vancouver where you can still get an apartment for less than a princely ransom and your firstborn child. Okay, back down the stairs. You can see how much crappier the camera is. The stairs, however, have remained just as crappy as they were before. Back to the scratched up, dinged up door, probably from people like me taking their bike down the back stairs. And the disgusting, wretched, leaking roof thing. And out we go, out the back door. So, bright, bloody sunlight. So bright, in fact, that this shitty old camera can't even deal with it. This weird pink cast, wasn't expecting this, didn't know this was happening until I got the video off the camera. In hindsight, what I should have done is probably stop the camera and start it again so it could have adjusted. I just figured it would, you know, be reasonably intelligent and adjust the light levels, but apparently it didn't. What I'm doing here at this moment is putting the rain bucket on, so as I get out into the street, I am not liable for fines or anything like that. And helmet being affixed, which I've never done before. I've never actually worn a bike helmet before today. This is the first time I've ever put one on. And now it's on, and off we go. And we're in the alley, and we're mounting the bicycle, and we're off. And it feels a little wobbly and a little awkward because apparently you can forget how to ride a bike somewhat. But it's downhill, and it's not too bad so far. I'm coming up to the first street, and the first little minor panic attack where it's just like, traffic. Is there going to be traffic? And I look around, and there's none, so I don't even stop, and off we go further down the alley to the little sort of Japanese-style Ibisu park that we've got here, and I'm just going to dodge off through the park and head over to Marine Drive. Here we go down the bike path. What are these posts doing here? These are very this is more of a slalom than I was expecting. I'm freaking out. I'm going to fall. I'm going to hit my face on one of these posts. And no, I made it. Okay. And now we finished the park. We're coming up to the street. And is there any traffic? No. So I'm just going to scoot across. And one of the small virtues of the neighborhood, the pub less than a block away. This is not a bad thing. Not that I've gone to it too much, but, you know, it's nice to know that I've got a pub a block away that I can go to whenever I feel like it. And I cut through here all the time. This is also happens to be my way to the bus for going to work in the morning. Just stopping here because it's so bright, I can't tell that the camera's working, so just stop in the shade, take a quick look. Yes, it is actually recording. Of course, I didn't notice that it was blinded by the light yet, but we'll worry about that later. So, okay, so here we are. I hop off the bike at this point because I'm not going to ride it across Marine Drive and run the risk of doing something like, I don't know, falling on my ass in front of a whole bunch of people. So we just have to wait for the light for a bit and watch the traffic go by. I will not ride my bike on the street. I will not even consider riding my bike on the street because this is just lunacy, and I don't know how anybody can do it. It's like all this traffic and great many bad drivers on their way to and from Richmond, which is like the mecca of all bad Vancouver drivers. Oh, there's one lunatic. He's probably a lot healthier than me, but not as bright, I think. And Okay, lights changed. We're walking the bike across the street. The street is extremely lumpy. There's so much traffic that there's ruts in the road. Um, uh, so anyway, we're across, and we're into the relative safety of the south of Marine Drive industrial zone, where there are bike lanes soon. Not at this point though, but there's also no traffic. This is the little used dead end part of Oak Street. I did a shoot down here once with a fire eater, which was kind of interesting. Made up by a friend of mine, an excellent makeup artist named Teresa, who did this sort of creepy voodoo thing. And okay, over the tracks, and a little fear that the basket's going to leap off and I'm going to lose the camera. But it doesn't fall off, and that's all good. And the camera shock. This particular shitty camera is at least shockproof, so if it did fall off, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Okay, I'm going down the street here, and there is more traffic than I expected. These are all the clever locals who know how to ditch off of Marine Drive and take Kent to stay out of the traffic. However, this is not making me very comfortable with riding my bike in this traffic with no bike lane at this point. And it's freaking me out, and especially big trucks going by. The other thing is, when I got outside and I started riding, I didn't realize, I'd forgotten my sunglasses. So I'm kind of blind like the camera at this point. I have the wrong glasses on, but let's deal with it. And let's just bail off the road here for a second. Like everybody else, I used to ride it all over the place. And it didn't bother me much, but as much as possible. Lack of pavement, camera jumping around, again, another fear that it's going to leap off. And it's like, the basket just kind of hooks on, and I worry that it's going to fall off at any point while I'm doing this. You can see it's not a smooth, lovely ride. When I used to pull this bike out before, I'd ride it around the seawall, take it to Stanley Park. It's all nicely smooth and totally, just easy riding. More hills and stuff, but whatever. Anyway, I'm following the river. It's all good. Look at the railroad tracks, giant bumps, and I'm freaking out again. And I'm on to a even busier part of the road. Theoretically, at this point, I'm on a bike lane, but you wouldn't know it. There's, tons of traffic. Not tons. I mean, it's not like Marine Drive, but there's still way more traffic than I'm comfortable with at this juncture. And I'm just looking forward to making it to the point where I am, out of traffic and off the road and relatively safe, because I'm so not used to this. I used to ride my bike to school every day when I was... Oh, see, look, it is a bike lane. It's a bike lane where the bike lane paint is worn off by the cars going down the street. How's that for irony? Look at that. Cars worn off the bike lane paint. And these bushes, it's not like you can stay over to the side of the road because the bushes are in the road. So, this, again, is giving me anxiety and freaking me out, and it's really hot, and I'm squinting and uncomfortable and just really ready to get off this road. And here's freedom. This is it. This is the part where there's virtually no traffic. I'm on my way to the Canada Line Bridge, which I only found out recently actually has a pedestrian and bike lane on it. That I had no idea. I thought it was strictly for the trains. I didn't realize that this what the truck. Okay. Anyway, on to the bike bridge and up this hill. I should also mention that this old bike, which is from 1964, it's an awesome bike. Not retro style, but genuinely retro. It is only a 3-speed. So, I have low, medium, and high. And low is not too bad for going up this hill. I'm actually doing all right at this point, considering how little exercise I've had for, the last, I don't know, 5 years or so. The last 3 years, I had a couple of bouts of crushing illness, like fantastically awful near-death illness, which is one of the reasons I've got this whole problem with depression that I'm dealing with, because there's this cascade of shit that went wrong, not the least of which was catching whooping cough, a disease that I completely thought was extinct. I, had no idea. Whooping cough. Who gets whooping cough? I tell anyone my age or older that I had whooping cough, and they're like, whooping cough? That still exists? And it's like, yes, apparently it does. And apparently it does because of anti-vaxxer retards. Here's a disease where there's been a vaccination since the 40s. And up until, the 90s, by the 90s, this disease was virtually extinct. Like, nobody got whooping cough. And then along comes the anti-vax, anti-science, anti-intellectual, complete nonsense idiots that decide foolishly and stupidly to give this thing a vector again. So there's outbreaks of it, and I happen to get caught in one, and it nearly killed me. I'm doing all right. I'm making up the bridge. As you can see, I've been past it several times, but what the hell, I'm out there, I'm doing it. And like I said, I've only got a couple of gears to deal with, so, this lowest gear is not as low as what you would have on a 10-speed or something, so there's a little bit of strength involved in climbing. There's this guy hanging out at the apex of the bridge, which I thought was kind of interesting. People far more healthy than me on their bicycles. And we've made it over the hump. And we can start coasting down the other side. And here's somebody walking along, enjoying the view, going home. I don't know what he's doing, but, somebody else. There's another old guy. I was impressed with him. He's also clearly more healthy than I am. But, hey, here I am, out in the sunshine, doing this exercise type thing. Feeling a little wobbly still. Not totally used to this whole riding a bike thing anymore, and slowing down for the bumps, and, not really eating it up like some kid would, or I would have as a kid. Going down the ramp to the zigzag, which I find, again, here's something else. These turns freaked me out. I'm freaking out right now. Freaking out. Why? Because there's not really enough room to do this. And it feels like I'm wobbly, and I feel like I'm going to fall over, and the inside corner is even harder. And there's somebody coming, and freaking out. Anyway, I made it. So now, decision. There was this part of me that was thinking, if I could ride my bike over this bridge and get to Bridgeport Station, I can get on the bus to UBC at the first stop. I can put my bike on the rack, get on the bus at the first stop, and then, get a seat. Everything's grand. Go out to work. So let's see how hard and what's the bike lane like, and let's head out toward Bridgeport and give this a go. Again, bushes growing right into the bike lanes, because why maintain any of this stuff once you've built it? I'm actually outside of the city of Vancouver. I'm in Richmond now, which is, I've ridden my bicycle to another municipality, railroad tracks, knocked the camera off. Okay, nope, survived. And more railroad tracks. But at least it's a nice wide bike lane. despite the blackberry brambles sticking out into it. There's one, I don't know if I've already passed it or if it's up here a bit. There's a great sort of face level blackberry bramble sticking out, just waiting to rake across your chest or face with all of these spikes. Lovely stuff. Anyway, that's the Oak Street Bridge. I've sort of circled around now. I'm actually closer to home than I was going over the other bridge. But Oak Street Bridge doesn't have a bike lane, and I don't even want to deal with that. So, we're getting up, getting toward a busy street here. I'm getting, a little too hot, I'm a little too tired at this point. I'm not sure that I really want to chance going all the way out to Bridgeport. There we go. That was the branch, the whack you in the face blackberry bramble. Just went by. I think that was at that point, this is it. It's just like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. However, I'm, can't have, this is, so not enjoying this anymore. Busy street coming up, fuck it, bail. Turn around, and there's no bike lane on this side. Okay, well, I'm not going to ride on the wrong side of the road on the other bike lane. I'm not going to ride on the road, so I'm just going to duck off onto this absurdly wide sidewalk. I can't, at this point, figure out why is there such a wide sidewalk in an industrial zone. It seems kind of stupid. There isn't going to be a lot of foot traffic. Not a lot of people in Richmond walk. I don't think anyone in Richmond is actually capable of walking. And then as I approach the bridge and I approach this pillar, there's a little sign on it that you can't see. I mean, you can see the sign. It's that little white dot there. And it's got a thing on it. Bikes to the left, pedestrians to the right. And I was, hey, this is a bike lane. I'm actually not riding on the sidewalk. I'm riding on a bike lane like I'm supposed to. I didn't know that when I started, but now I do. So I feel somewhat more comfortable about the fact that, I'm braking, I'm probably still breaking some laws. God knows, there's probably some stupid bicycle law that I'm completely unaware of and blithely, obliviously breaking. But I couldn't tell you what that is because I don't know what it is. If it even exists, who knows? I don't. So off we go. We're coming back to the bridge. We're coming back over. We're going to head back up over the bridge and try and go home. Back over all the railroad tracks as the camera bumps around. I'm just watching this and looking at this. I am going to give this another go. I've got the camera where the battery didn't work. I did actually get a good charge on it, and I tried it out. It seems like it's going to work, so I'll give this another shot with the other camera, although I am somewhat concerned because it did occur to me that this camera that I'm using is shockproof, and all this bouncing around isn't going to hurt it one little bit. The other camera, not so much. And yeah, I'll get a better video out of it, but am I going to do any harm to the camera? I certainly wouldn't want to use one of my really good SLRs or anything like that for this. Forget that, but I don't know. The other one's pretty solid state. It should be okay. So anyway, we're coming back to the bridge, and I'm a little tired at this point, and I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to get all the way up and over without having to dismount and walk for a bit. Gear down into the lowest gear and start cheating up here. It's difficult, and I'm overriding. Well, maybe I'll keep a little bit of the audio intact at this point. You can hear the bike creaking, and although, is it the bike creaking or is it my knees creaking? It's my knees and my back. Who knows? No, really, it's the bike creaking. So we're on our way back over the bridge. My legs are slowly turning into rubber. I'm actually managing it, though. I'm surprised that I'm able to climb this again without having to dismount yet, or actually at all. I do make it over the apex. Spoiler. I am obviously a little wobbly and tired. Oh, excuse me. Gee, see, just looking at this and thinking about the whooping cough and all the exercise and everything, it's making me cough. I keep looking at this rail, thinking, okay, maybe if I put my hand on the rail and pulled myself along, it would be easier, but that's just stupid, and I'd probably just crash into one of these I-beams and make an even worse fool of myself. But I'm trying to stay close to the wall anyway because I know I'm going really slow, and anyone with any kind of level of fitness at all is going to want to get past me. And as we approach the top, the guy who I noticed on the way before is still there, sitting at the top. I don't know, kind of sitting at the top of the bridge in the shade, looking out over the river. It's got kind of a nice sort of Zen meditative thing to it. I can understand what he's doing there. At least I thought I could understand what he's doing there, because when I actually get up to him at this point, he's not sitting there enjoying the view or any kind of Zen thing. He's sitting there in the shade at the top of the bridge, over the river, with the trains going over his head in the industrial zone, fiddling with his phone. Are there Pokemon on the bridge? I don't know. Although it would be kind of funny to put a lure there and clog up this path with a bunch of people playing Pokemon. So there he is, fiddling with his phone, sitting in bird shit. I don't know. Whatever. Takes all kinds, right? But anyway, that's the apex. I made it. I made it over the hard part. Here goes somebody a lot healthier than me, doing her thing. One of these people that rides their bike to work every day, and I don't like those people. I have to say it. I don't like people who ride their bike to work, even though I'm theoretically working toward doing this myself, because it's gross. You get to work all sweaty. Like, I don't want to get sweaty before I get to work. I want to get to work, and I want to be, that's why you have a shower in the morning. You shower and you do your hair. Anyway, I've stopped at this point because I'm trying to figure out if there's a way not along Kent. Like, if there's any path along the river, if there's any way I can duck off Kent and follow closer to the river along maybe a footpath or pedestrian bike path or something, to stay out of traffic completely, but I can't see anything, so it's back to Kent. At this point, it's the easy part. It's rolling down the bridge again. The worst part about this is just the fact that I'm less steady than I'd like, and I'm worried about these corners, and I'm worried about dodging people, and I'm worried about people coming up behind me, and then because I'm wobbly and not, you can see how much I'm wobbling there. Somebody's going to be passing me, and I'm not going to know they're there, and I'm going to wobble into them, and it's going to be a bike accident, and it's going to be my fault. And there we go. See, boom, boom, guy flying past me as I'm just about to pass this person. You see, look at him, he's just flying around the corner. It's all good, and here's me wobbling around the corner like a freaky old guy. And I think that guy ahead of me is probably older than me. But it's not going to get any better if I don't do something about it. So here I am doing something about it. This is what it's all about, right? I'm here to do something about, this exercise, brain chemistry of exercise. That's what's got me inspired to do this. Although to eating more fish or something, I just, this is like, anyway, instead of the chemical approach, here's the theoretically natural approach. It's out huffing carbon monoxide from the cars on Kent. Coming up soon, back on the Kent, I actually stopped and signaled here. I signaled. I used, I stopped and I did a hand signal to let dude that was waiting, coming the other way, to know that I was turning left, so that he was going to wait for me inappropriately. And yeah, there's the grade 5 bicycle safety. Okay, at this point the camera has gone dead. Stopped on me, so I pulled out to fiddle with it and got it going again, but it's not going to last long. There's only so much room on this camera. As I come around and I get back to Marine Drive to cross the street again, my legs are so tired that they collapse underneath me, and it's only by virtue of the fact that I'm holding the bike that I don't fall over. The bike becomes a crutch, and I'm glad for those wobbles in Marine Drive that I mentioned on the way back, because my wobbly walk, because my legs are so tired, at least looks like I'm just sort of tripping over the ruts in the road or something. But anyway, I made it, and I got home, and I just barely got the bike up the stairs. It was, and I collapsed in a sweaty heap, and there we go. My first absurd stream of consciousness, babbling bike ride.